Hey everybody, so Larian, the highly acclaimed and praised creators of Baldur's Gate 3 have been figuratively and ironically burned alive for the past couple of days online because it came out that they're using AI in development for their games. This was first tossed out there by a games news outlet that irresponsibly phrased it in a malicious way that exacerbates the context of the actual quote, when in reality it's a nothing burger that I'll try to explain in good faith throughout this video. But honestly, I don't know how well I'm gonna be able to do that, guys, because it's been insane out here. I'm not even going to get into the weeds when it comes to the quotes. This is mostly just going to be a good old rant because, man, I gotta get some things off my chest too. Like, never mind the fact that the studio has been misrepresented here, you know, that alone is rich, honestly, because, I mean, it's Larian. They've been the darlings of the games industry over the past couple of years thanks to the success and wide appeal of Baldur's Gate 3. They even made game journalists happy with all the diversity and inclusion that they added into the game. All this didn't matter though because, hey, remember my video from a couple of days ago? This one here about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and the Game Awards? Remember what I said during the conclusion? That pandering to these people doesn't matter? That they'll eat you alive as soon as you do one small thing that goes against their incredibly strict and unrealistic set of values? Well, there you go, guys. I said this in regards to Warhorse having done it for nothing and as a warning to Sandfall as they start building their future in the games industry. And now Larian serves as another example for them and any other future studios. Just mind your business, make your games, and don't bother with anything else. Don't bother trying to foster a cutie-tootie community. Don't bother trying to appease the elites in the industry or pander to game journalists. It doesn't do anything. You're not building relationships, you're just being a good dog, and as soon as you slip, which you inevitably will, even when you don't, because realistically these people have an unsustainable belief system with infinite purity testing, they're going to reach for that controller and shock you. And the reason why I don't even want to bother with this angle today is because Larian didn't even slip. They didn't do anything wrong here, they're just making video games in the year of our Lord of 2025, where the reality is that AI in the games industry is inescapable, because AI in software is inescapable. But the problem with what's happening is we're dealing with scores of people, thousands of them, who don't even understand what the f they're mad about. They don't understand AI, they don't understand its use, they don't know the various ways it can be applied ethically, and so they completely fail to differentiate between a developer using it to make the work go faster, smoother, and generally more efficiently, or a corporation using it to replace a developer. And good luck trying to have a conversation with these people, they're literally impossible to engage with. You can try as best as you can, I mean hell, the main guy from the studio, Sven Vinka, even put out a statement as soon as everyone started having a goddamn meltdown over the misrepresented article, and this perfectly encapsulates their reaction to it. Initially, I even saved a few screenshots in case I was going to make a video on it, but then I just stopped outright because it was pointless. Like, the entire website was awash with this shit. Every time I refreshed my damn timeline, hoping to get a meme or something else, it was filled with post after post after post of just lying, whining, screaming, insulting, boycotting, threatening. Just a goddamn mess, guys. And man, do I have a lot to say about this, so let's start with the foundation of it all. AI. If you watched this video here, or this video here, or if you've tuned into the episodes of the network over at Discuss Things channel...
Des, can you tell us what non-binary is?
How the fuck should I know? Where I'm invited every now and then to go down the AI rabbit hole, then you would know that I'm not an AI bro who loves and excuses everything about it. Really, I'm just a realistic guy. I have various concerns tied to AI, big and small. Mainly, I worry about all the bad shit that will come from our society quite simply not being ready for it. The changes that it will bring and the consequences of those changes are going to be big, and I don't believe we're ready for it. And worse, I don't believe our lovely governments and corporations are going to be understanding or collaborative in the process of helping us adapt to those changes. Because if they were, then they would have already started. Instead, they're just accelerating the problem by dumping billions and sometimes even trillions of dollars to develop even more of it for more functions. Life has largely been a certain way for a long time now. Our modern world has changed some of those things along the way, but not their concept. We still ran shit, which meant that you needed people to do the running. And people are motivated and required to do that running because they need to get paid so they can have a house and food on the table, and in many cases also a purpose. With AI, that core concept is gone. We still need to do something because number one, we need money to survive and afford goods and frankly also some freedom and autonomy. Number two, we need a purpose of some kind, and number three, we need shit to do with all this time on our hands. I mean, remember the lockdowns? Some people were losing their minds just because they couldn't have a routine like they did. It's not that these issues can't be solved, it's that I straight up don't trust our systems, our politicians, and these corporations to solve it. But that's big picture stuff, you know what I mean? Like, that's over there. You know, that's big scale stuff. There's a lot of hypotheticals in it too, and that's why I don't even like to get into this too much, because I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. It's still way out of my wheelhouse for me to dive into. All I know is that when you value money way above people, the results aren't generally good. When it comes to smaller, more palpable concerns though, I obviously have a problem with game studios abusing generative AI to replace game developers, and then make garbage that they'll keep selling to us at a premium. This is that kind of thing where reputation should have mattered here. When it's Larian, the industry sweetheart over the past couple of years, saying that they're using AI to just do some exploration of ideas, but no actual real push towards it, nor any actual generation of content for the game, then game journalists and soy boys online should have given them the trust that they've earned, at the very least give them the benefit of the doubt, at least that. Like, fellas, if it was EA or Ubisoft saying it, sure, you have a reason to be worried and not trust them at all, because they've been scamming us for over a decade now. So it's like, of course, if you're scamming me in like 2010 with online passes, and then you spend the entire decade finding other ways to scam me with predatory monetization, cut content sold separately to create bullshit pre-order editions, season passes that don't unlock all the content, loot boxes, overpriced DLCs, etc., then why the hell wouldn't you scam me with AI too? But Larian? Sven Vinka? After all the serious talks he has given where he goes publicly against the predatory nature of the industry? Are these people even aware of who he is, or were they just interested in Baldur's Gate 3 as far as it allows them to pick pronouns in the character creator? I'm just realistic when it comes to AI. I understand that there's good uses for it and bad uses for it, and a whole spectrum in between. I understand it as a beneficial tool for game developers, artists, etc., and as an abusive weapon for scammers and corporations to run wild with. And when it comes to game development, its use is inevitable because it's like Adobe. You guys know Adobe or Adobe software, whatever, you know, like Photoshop. When that came out, I imagine there were some old school people refusing to use it out of some principle or whatever that valued the old and proper way of doing things. But eventually that's not going to matter, because if you want to remain competitive in the market, you will use the damn controversial tool that makes your work 10 times faster and opens up new options. This is how people should see AI in game development, as a powerful and convenient tool that talented artists need to operate. Talented artists will not be replaced so long as they remain ahead of the curve and expand their skills with AI. I don't have any saved examples right now, fellas, but the best thing that I can think of when it comes to these things is these Twitter accounts that say AI artist on their bios. There's two kinds of them. The ones who write some random shit and press a button coming up with some ugly uninspired generic shit, and then the ones who are actually digital artists playing with AI and creating some pretty good looking things with it. Denying the existence and the difference of these two types of people and what they represent is just insane, guys. It's insane, and it's counterintuitive. It's against reality itself, and it's never going to help us. Like, we're never going to get anywhere when it comes to AI discussion if we can't at least acknowledge this. Ideally, studios are not going to be replacing artists with, morons who type shit into prompts and generate it with generative AI. They're going to still keep hiring artists who now adopt AI tools into their big arsenal. But what if I don't want to? I don't know, man. Like, what do you want me to say? It's like if someone says they don't want to use smartphones, they want to use the old phones. It's like, okay, go ahead, but you're only hurting yourself. And if some guy shows up and he says, hey, you need to have a phone with a GPS in order to get this job, it's not the guy's fault that you don't want to fucking do it. Will it all be beautiful and perfect like this? No, of course not. You can bet your sweet eggnogs that there's going to be companies who will try to thin out their staff as much as possible, even if it just means saving a few extra pennies on the dollar. And they're gonna do this because they're assholes and they've always been assholes. Always. And I don't want to go on another tangent here, but this is a massive pet peeve of mine. These companies like your EAs and your Ubisofts and your Blizzards and your Activisions, so on and so forth, companies that will 100% abuse AI, have been assholes for decades. But the same idiots spazzing out right now over AI are the very same ones who worship them just because they pander to them all year long and double down on it during Pride Month. It's going to be amazing when these people find out that their darling companies have already been using some form of AI. Shit, maybe they've been using it to generate those fancy pictures that they put up on their banners. But back to it. It will be abused, guys. It is inevitable, because AI itself and its standard use in the very software that game developers use is inevitable in and of itself. Like, these people are so retarded that they don't even realize they're on Twitter, a platform in which AI runs in the background of. They use Google, a search engine that owns various platforms in which their Gemini AI runs in the background of it too. How the fuck do you expect the very software developers use to make games to not have AI functions built into them too? If not now, then very soon. It's ridiculous, guys. Come on, like, we are fighting over nothing. You want to know what you should focus on? You should focus on the ones who are going to abuse it. Larian isn't abusing a goddamn thing. Why don't you focus on the ones who do? All you do when you focus on shit like this is 2 or 3 things. Number 1, you look pathetic. That's number 1. Like, look at this post. What the fuck do you mean? What am I gonna do in my life? Are you serious? Like, what is even the answer here? Like, don't play the game. How about that? Number 2, you look stupid, and number 3, you look unhinged. And when you put all these 3 together, what you're going to generate yourself, right? You're not an AI, but you're going to generate something as well, is fatigue. You're going to generate fatigue and ridiculousness whenever this issue comes up. And then, inevitably, eventually, oh, it's coming, and it's coming soon. There's going to be a time, there's going to be a case where it's going to be fucking egregious. Hey, kind of like the Black Ops 7 situation, right? But it's not going to matter. Another Black Ops 7 situation is going to happen. In fact, we're going to have an even worse one than Black Ops 7, and people aren't going to care. Why? Because people like this, who make posts packed with cringe like this, have watered down AI discourse to an extent where people don't even want to hear about it anymore. And quite frankly think that the ones engaging in it are retarded. Okay, so I'm sorry about getting a little, upset back there. A bit of a pet peeve and all that. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I have a pet peeve with this topic as well, but I'm going to try to be as good faith as possible, alright? Because I don't think these people know what they're talking about. I'm not a game developer. Once upon a time I had interest in pursuing it, but I ended up not doing it. But what I did pursue was design. When it comes to design, there's similar things to game development where there are these tedious little things that you have to do to get from one phase of your design to the next. AI use, in these cases, is not just a time saver for the sake of saving time, which is relevant on its own because if you're doing a job, you gotta do it fast, but it's also a time saver that allows you to spend less time on the tedious shit and more time focusing on exploring other ideas in your design. It's still your design, it's still your work, and not using it in these kinds of cases is like choosing to take the stairs instead of the escalator, okay? When you're an artist, for example, like if you're trying to draw something on pen and paper, that's going to take you a while and mistakes are annoying to deal with. But if you have the money to buy one of those tablets that you can draw on and you learn to use the software and etc., maybe you even pay for a premium one, whatever, you're free to do whatever you want, you're going to have a way easier time and way faster time as well to make an on average even higher quality product than the guy drawing on paper. Should you, I don't know, get arrested by the woke police because you're using a tool that someone else may not have the capacity to use to advance your own work? Because that's what you're doing. Your embracing of this new modern technology is allowing you to get a job far faster than the guys who can't. The ones who are drawing on paper. They're cooked. You're taking their jobs because you chose to start using a tool that was at your disposal, and technically it's at their disposal too, but it's a little bit different. When it comes to AI, it's actually more equally accessible to more people than a drawing tablet, because drawing tablets are very expensive. One of these two is taking the stairs, the other is taking the escalator, and you can very well still have the personal choice to take those stairs too, but if there's a guy at the top holding a big check, he's not going to give it to the guy who finishes last, okay? So do with that what you will. Now the statement from Sven says, "Holy fuck guys, we're not pushing hard for or replacing concept artists with AI. We have a team of 72 artists, of which 23 are concept artists, and we are hiring more. The art they create is original and I'm very proud of what they do. I was asked explicitly about concept art and our use of Gen AI. I answered that we have used it to explore things. I didn't say we use it to develop concept art. The artists do that, and they are indeed world-class artists. We use AI tools to explore references, just like we use Google and Artbooks. At the very early ideation stages, we use it as a rough outline for composition, which we replace with original concept art. There is no comparison. I talked about how we use machine learning here if you would like to know more." And then they share a link to a GameSpot article. He continues, "We've hired creatives for their talent, not for their ability to do what a machine suggests. But they can experiment with these tools to make their lives easier." Honestly, the video shouldn't even exist, because all of this discourse should have stopped right here. He explained everything. There's absolutely nothing wrong with what he said and with what they're doing, and you need to be a world-class retard to not understand it. This has been misrepresented to hell and back. You got scores of people like this making claims that they're replacing concept artists when they are not. And the goddamn tools are being used by the artists themselves because it makes their works easier. Like, this is insane, dude. Like, you have to purposefully get things wrong. Reading comprehension cannot be this bad. You have to literally choose to be mad at this. This is why this is such a pet peeve of mine. You got people who ironically never created any digital art and know jack shit about AI, throwing a studio under the bus because they don't understand how it works, and the very concept of using it as an assistance tool for their work, for their convenience. And yes, some of you may have picked up that one of the screenshots is from George Alexopoulos, who is a cartoonist and makes digital comics. But I don't know what else to tell you here, guys. There's three options here for people who are self-proclaimed artists and don't get this. Number one, they're not actually digital artists, so they got no concept of what it is to have a process that gets cut shorted through AI. It's literally the same as, for example, using this goddamn tool in Photoshop. It's literally as simple as this. Think of this concept, but as an AI tool rather than a Photoshop tool, where instead of simply using this handy tool right here to get rid of this background in one click, I would instead switch to this archaic ass rubber and do it manually, taking like 50 times the time it took me with the tool. But anyway, whatever, that's number one. Now let's go for number two. So either that or they don't know anything at all about AI. They think everything that AI is a little text box where you can type whatever you want, and then the AI just generates the whole fucking thing. So in other words, they think Larian is typing medieval fantasy village concept art please, and then they're pressing enter and then using that shit. And finally, number three, which is much simpler, they have an IQ so low that it's surprising that they're even able to breathe. Vote for your favorite hypothesis down below in the comments, guys! This part is not going to be good faith at all, so you've been warned. So my favorite part about all this meltdown has to be the bravado on the calls for boycotts and cancellations of the game. It's basically a little funny silver lining in an incredibly annoying story. You got seas, guys, seas of people coming out dunking on Larian, saying that they're not going to support this, riling up their followers with exaggerations, pushing for the same, you know, shit like this. All studios will start doing this, okay, and I'm also allowed to just not purchase all of those games. That is also an option. Sure thing, buddy. I'm sure you're just going to drop the hobby entirely over someone using the AI equivalent of a toothpick. I have this thing as a consumer called purchasing power, and I have this thing as a human being called principles. They will indeed guide my choices. Okay, so here's what you actually have, big dog. It's pronouns in your bio. What the Okay, like that said, that's what you actually have in there. And it's hilarious that the first statement in the post is already a shit show, because you genuinely think studios aren't doing this shit already. You actually think this isn't going to become an industry standard, not even because of bad malicious reasons, but because of how prevalent it has become even in software. Like, AI is reaching the point of cell phones, where eventually everyone had one because it was just the one thing that became completely normalized. People like this are literally going to have to learn to stop looking at AI in such a narrow way and differentiate its use, because it is what it is, sweetheart. Sorry, I didn't mean to misgender you by humanizing you. People not buying the next Larian game isn't going to stop the development of things that actually threaten us. Those are already being invested into. There's more money put into them than the very value of our lives. This isn't stopping, and the best thing we can collectively do is focus on that instead. Like, what are we doing? We're spending literally days of our lives shitting ourselves online over some video game studio having some developers who experiment with AI tools. Just fucking brilliant. Like, congratulations guys, you're really owning the AI industry here. But now let's get to the good part. Sorry, I, went on another tangent. My favorite part about posts like that one, or these coping, seething, and jabbing Larian like, I'm not playing your video game. I am no support you. You going down, Larian. Is they actually believe that they have purchase power. I swear, man, these people basically look at Baldur's Gate 3's success and they legitimately think that what made it such a huge hit is the pronoun menu. And so, this leads them to believe that their echo chambers where they virtue signal about AI and pose around like this, either complaining about what's going on right now, or a few days ago complaining about the design of the new Tomb Raider, or the commitment from the developers of Lords of the Fallen 2 to make attractive character designs in their upcoming game, and etc., actually matter and have impact. It's been going on with Tomb Raider in general, actually. Like, I was going to do a separate video about this, but I'll just show it to you guys right now. Apparently, according to the International Blue Sky Association, Tomb Raider is a queer icon, always has been and always will be, and the Tomb Raider fanbase / community is 90%, not 19, 90 guys, okay, 90, big 9-0, composed by LGBTQIA+ people. And this is actually the prevalent bit of history revisionism and delusion that these people were engaging in right now before the Larian Divinity AI thing happened, which swept through online discussion like crazy. It completely threw the Tomb Raider discourse into the garbage and took over the timeline. And it's just brilliant, really. I mean, an attractive female character, Lara Croft herself, is a queer icon, guys. You know, it's made for them as they occupy the overwhelming majority of the fan base. So hey, guys, if you guys didn't know, you know, if you're watching this video right now and you like Tomb Raider and you're not in the LGBTQIA etc. plus community, congratulations. You are now officially a minority, in case you didn't know. I swear, dude, I'm getting a goddamn headache. I'm not even kidding. Brain rot followed by brain rot. I mean, fellas, this is not sustainable. Like, I need some ibuprofen or something. Whew. Here's some cold water. You have no purchase power. Zero. Tomb Raider's success and fanbase doesn't even need a goddamn identity. I don't know why everything needs to be fucking labeled nowadays, like queer, straight, gay, woman, man, who cares? You like Tomb Raider? Congratulations. Here's a copy. Now shut the up and go play the game. If we were to label it, like if we had to label, let's get real, it was made for teenage boys because back then, gaming was overwhelmingly dominated by boys. They were the main target audience and it frankly doesn't even matter what their sexuality was. Like, congratulations to the LGBT gooners out there who thought that Lara Croft was hot. You're not special though, you're just the same as everyone else, which is precisely why the character was designed the way that it was. And by the way, you're welcome, because if we were to wait for, you know, the activists these days to design an attractive character, we'd all be starving. Baldur's Gate 3's success is the same thing. It's not because you can pick pronouns for your character, it's because it's a great CRPG with depth and quality. Look, I don't want to be an asshole here, but you represent so little that even when games come out that are made for your kind of crowd, with you in mind, games like Lost Records, Bloom and Rage earlier this year and Dragon Age Veilguard last year, they go nowhere, brother. They end up cooked. So these posts, they just end up being funny. I'd be laughing more if I didn't have a goddamn headache. Now, does AI concern reach a higher number of people than just the most fringe lefty people with flags in their bios and etc.? Yes, of course it does. I mean, here I am. I'm concerned about it and I'm moderate. But the difference is that I'm concerned about shit that makes sense. When it comes to being irrationally mad and spazzing out at everything that is AI and being literally unable to engage in conversation about it, that does not represent a majority. If Divinity turns out to be another great CRPG from Larian, the majority of people will not care about this AI controversy. Some of them are even going to be coming from your side, because virtue signaling while, you know, a game isn't out is cheap. But actually boycotting it requires much more than that. And when these people aren't even informed about what the they're supposed to be mad about, they're going to end up folding anyway. But even if they didn't, it just wouldn't matter. Companies have spent so many years pandering to these groups that it makes them feel invincible, makes them feel like they have this huge purchasing power and this huge representation in franchises like the Tomb Raider. The truth is that AI as an assistance tool to game developers is not controversial. All this outrage is going nowhere fast. There are deep gaps of sense in their arguments. And so there really is only one direction where this is going, which is normalization. And if the game is good, it's going to normalize it even further. So it's time to just stop coping. Because all this coping and outrage is ridiculous. This is the biggest nothing burger I've ever seen. AI is simply not a linear thing, it should not be looked at as a linear thing. There's good uses for it, there's fantastic uses for it, and then there's bad ones and abusive ones, and in between these a whole spectrum of garbage, slop, and things that make you go, why the fuck did they make that? The concept of generative AI stealing art sucks, but not all AI use is inherently generative, nor theft. The reality of AI is not black and white. People need to stop treating it as such, because you can be an artist and use it as a tool to come out ahead, which is exactly what the artists at Larian are doing. It's time to focus on the big picture, not this small, nonsensical bullshit. But there's the slippery slope. Slippery slopes are usually defined by something that you have power over starting to become more prevalent and take over certain things. We're already way past that point with AI. But so what? Do we just give up? Back to the other argument. You don't give up, you just focus on where it matters instead of looking like a f***ing clown, making noise about AI-assisted tools in game development, especially while doing it on Twitter, which supports an AI. Wake me up when there's something to get mad at. Like, wake me up when we have another Black Ops 7 or something like that. You nudging me, you're nudging me like, wake up, we gotta make noise about this. Larian has, you know, Larian is using the equivalent of Photoshop. Get up, Des, come on, you're gonna make noise about this? It's bad. You complain about the woke, why you not complain about this? Why aren't you complaining about... Shut the f*** up, okay? Anyway, that's all I had to rant about on that matter. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I just ask you guys to hit the like button. Maybe let me know your thoughts in the comments. I don't like to ask, but interactions are what makes your views count, and that would really help me out. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.